Hey everybody, welcome back to the Archangel 15. This presentation is going to be called Human Cloning, Organ Harvesting, Human Trafficking, and Pedophilia. It's been a while since I've done a very long presentation, so I'm going to try to get this done in one part. Hopefully it doesn't go over into two. I've refined this from various other work that I've done in the past, similar presentations. I believe this one will probably be the best when it's all said and done. I will try to move fast and expedite this. Please stay with me. I want to cover some really interesting stuff that I haven't talked about in the past as well. I've been doing some pretty amazing artwork on my channel with my cloud formations. In my opinion, my work is unparalleled and very deeply suppressed. I don't know anybody else, to my knowledge, that is using clouds as a medium for artwork. My thought is that if God gave me such an amazing gift, why not try to use it to advance things that nobody else has the courage to talk about? 3 examples of how I am pushing the envelope and blazing the trail on my YouTube channel. One is my root canal in a bottle video, particularly number 3, my newest of all. I did another one 7 years ago. I've been doing research on this topic for over 10 years now and have various other presentations about suppressed medical science. Please check those out as well. This video is also part of my profound work. Like I said, just talking about stuff that nobody else talks about. I take great pride in this. The stuff that could easily get people killed or obviously suppressed, like myself. You have probably heard about the concept of human trafficking before, but never had people explain it to the way that I am today. And basically come to the realization that it is not about abducting girls anymore and from a very young age and kidnapping. It's about propagation of quality genetics. They skip right to the chase. They don't need to have a paper trail and take risk and everything. They realize that it's much simpler. Like another thing that they used to do is bringing girls over from Ukraine and Russia, like talent shows and stuff they would go to solicit them, and then get them, some rich guys would pick which one they want and have them come over here. But then it was a lengthy visa process, K-190 visa, and a lot of times the girls come here and want to leave or go somewhere else with some other guy. It's a mess. I've heard countless horror stories about everything involving this. But there is an open auction where these genetics and these kids are sold to the highest bidder. And I'm going to actually advance that the United States government knows about this. And like I said, this isn't just the United States. This happens all over the world. And central governments are actively taking a part and either involved with this or looking the other way. The girls that they are propagating are 95 to 100% Ukrainian genetics. They're, like I said, they skip right to those genetics typically. Sometimes they try to refine other genetics, but those are the ones they stick with, mostly blonde hair and blue eyes. And no one, basically, if you have such disregard for human life to where you're going to propagate people for sex puppets, you will also use them for organ harvesting. And basically look at them where you can monopolize every value of their body till they are dust. Also on my channel, I have a lot of work dedicated to the ABRH negative Holy Grail bloodline of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, found on the Shroud of Turin. I'm going to advance that many of these cloning programs involve these reptilian bloodlines and possibly dovetail into other areas that are classified and top secret. I've talked about a lot in the past. Just watch some of my other stuff if you're interested in what I'm saying. If you're still with me and interested, God bless you. I want to give a shout out to the late great Ted Gunderson, former FBI chief. He had thousands of field agents working for him in Los Angeles. He did some very profound work in his life. And I don't think there's anybody that did more relentless work trying to obtain justice for missing and exploited children. And may his soul rest in peace forever. He talked about other stuff like chemtrails. That was some of the last work that he did before he died. But to make a summation of his work, he tried, I think, 13 times going to the Department of Justice, and he got shot. And he even went with the late great Senator John DeCamp, I think from Nebraska, and other U.S. senators. And he says FBI level investigations that he brought to the Department of Justice, and they shot him down and said it was classified under national security. So without going too deep into it, talking about people at the presidential levels, many presidents probably, I will say that the people that are involved have very big money and are very powerful people. I want to start off here by criticizing a movie that is actually about human trafficking. And this movie is called The Sound of Freedom. Ask, why would I, criticize a movie promoting such an amazing social advocacy cause? Because they made it look like the girls that were being exploited were Latin girls or of their own race. And this is partially true, obviously. They'll exploit anybody. But in reality, the Latin girls are slave masters to these Russian and Ukrainian girls. And basically, and just imagine that, like I said, like you're going to a place like Colombia, Mexico, wherever, and like in this movie, it was Colombia, and seeing not these animal cartel guys with these beautiful Ukrainian Russian genetic angels. And like I said, people would be infuriated. They would never have it. And the reason, like, there's several reasons that they don't talk about it like that in this light, because there's people in this country, like I said, country club people that are doing the exact same thing. So what I'm basically telling you is, in reality, the Latin girls have nowhere near as much value, like I said, as the Slavic girls do. And what I'm also telling you is that I've been around the world and I've seen people all over propagating Russian and Ukrainian girls with blonde hair and blue eyes. I've been to Russia 4 times. It's very bad there, particularly outside of the main cities. I've been to Ukraine twice. It's also very bad there as well. Very, very exploited. It's very sad what they do there. And like the Americans really don't care about Ukraine. They've taken countless genetics from there and exploited them as well, just like everybody else around the world has. Israel, really bad there. It's really bad when you see these creepy Hasidic, the Jews, nothing wrong with Hasidic Jews, but the Hasidic Jews with, creepy guys with these young, beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Ukrainian girls. They have them all skimped out and stuff. The Muslim men there do it the same. The Palestinians or whoever the Muslims are, they do the exact same thing. I have to believe it's very prevalent in a lot of those countries. Like I said, Armenia, Georgia, Kazakhstan. Like I said, worst of all, probably Colombia, the human refinement capital of the world. Sadly, America is pretty bad as well. This is very, very prevalent in the elite country club community. Like they're basically actively doing pedophile ranching. Is what I call them, pedophile ranchers. It's my little coined term. And like this is probably very prevalent in secret societies and high-level organizations. I'm not going to mention any names, but hopefully there's more good people in those organizations than there are these scumbags. And like I said, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, there'll be less and less of them, and they'll thin them out, and they'll go to hell and burn where they belong. In other countries, chain link fencing and concertina wire is the normal for having compounds. It's very sad. It's very scary. It's not necessary to keep people out. It's to keep people in and protect their prized genetics, because it's very, very common to have people steal them. If they probably stole these genetics to begin with, or they're doing what they're doing, it's already shady, so they open themselves up to other shady people that see it as an opportunity for them to advance off of other scumbags. So, if what I'm alleging is true, imagine, like I said, this movie, Sound of Freedom, with Mexican people, Mexican cartel animals, Colombian cartel animals, Muslims, Jews, old country club men, black guys, darker skinned Italians, even fellow Slavics, or Chinese or Asians, all having colonies of these beautiful white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls. And they never show it on any movies or anybody else talk about it or explain it like I'm talking about it with you. Why? I will kind of get to that at the end. But propagating these girls is obviously requiring a dedicated gene pool and refinement programs. There's a lot of other stuff that's going on, like incest, I've probably talked about in the past, but they cross these genetics and keep them very tight, cross good ones with good ones, and you get the point. I just want to stop now and say that if you guys, the random guys like myself, went down to Medellin, Colombia, they would be absolutely furious when they see that most of the Latin boys there, probably a lot of them in cartels, a lot of them not, but a lot of them are animals. And they had these beautiful Russian, Ukrainian girls. You would say, under no way under the sun is there this high of population propensity of these beautiful girls to the random Latin girls there. And it's obvious, like I said, that there are massive cloning programs on. And when some of these guys, the American guys, are here pushing some mediocre girl, and they have to absolutely jump through hoops and spend big money, and if they're lucky, they make it a girl that comes from a wealthy family. Basically, I'm just speaking. It's how guys pretty much are in a position right here. It costs a lot of money, and like I said, a lot of times there's no guarantees. And on a side note, there is a reason that there's so many cloning programs in Colombia and Brazil in the Amazons. And there are basically 4 conditions there that allow for the cocaine to grow in Colombia and the most amazing air in the world. 1 is the equator, very close to the equator. 2 is the Andes Mountains, which kind of filters the air in a high elevation. The Pacific Ocean is 3. That also is a big filter. And 4, the most important of all, the Amazon rainforest, the lungs of the world, which induces an immense amount of dissolved oxygen, O2, through photosynthesis. Take twins or quadruplets. Say raise 1 of them or 2 of them in New York City, where there's horrible toxins everywhere, and 1 or 2 of them in Colombia, where Amazons, and you would see an amazing difference in biological differences. Huge, huge, huge difference. Like I said, there's a reason that they propagate these girls in those areas. And I guess nobody goes there to call them out on their shit, basically. I heard the same thing about girls raised in the deep underground bunkers. There's nowhere near as many toxins there as well. When I first went to Medellin, my first trip there a while back, I get off in the taxi, and the guy says, "We had the most beautiful air in the world." And basically the weather there is very beautiful. It's like late August in Pennsylvania, September in Pennsylvania, every single day, all day, every year. And it's beautiful there, beautiful people, they have a beautiful economy. And I'm not knocking, like I said, everything there, but there are some very serious issues going on in those areas. But per the talk on twins and quadruplets, I just want to say here that these cloning programs try very, very hard to dedicate to obtaining twins and triplets and multiple birth pregnancies. If they can get like the high quality girls, blonde hair, blue eyes, and say quadruplets, you have no idea how much astronomical value they bring at auctions. Even twins. It's so rare and uncommon. They probably are pretty good and proficient at doing it by now. And just the whole in vitro fertilization process. In Pennsylvania, the age of consent is 16 years old. Why did they change this? I think it was during Trump's first administration. Why from 18 to 16? I think it's a little bit questionable myself. Sadly, I think a lot of girls are victimized and abused between the ages of 5 and 11. Sadly, a lot younger in many cases. So I now want to switch programs and point to you 3 probable scenarios where this is likely being done. I like the way that I'm doing this. So, okay, scenario number 1. You have a man who, say, has a decent-looking wife and some money. He gets his wife in vitro fertilization pregnant with some breadwinner Slavic men's sperm, and even possibly pricey eggs, prize winner eggs. They abort every male baby until they get their female, and then they have something potentially valuable in various forms. To the dad, it's a sex puppet. I've seen this countless times. You go to places like Manhattan, this is very common. You'll see some dark-skinned Italian guy walking with some, mediocre-looking wife, half-decent looking, with some sex puppet young girl, huge body, huge rear end and everything, Ukrainian Russian looking, walking half crooked, and darn well that's not really his daughter. I'm just, there's no way that he could have made that. Like I said, they abort every male baby to get the female babies. Nobody talks about that involved in this process, but it's a very sad aspect of it. And they have future value in the potential sale of eggs down the road with these girls if they turn out to be really high quality. Some of them may auction their own daughters off at that point, if it's not even really their daughter. I would say that they engage, like I said, in pedophilia openly with these kids between 5 and 11, maybe much younger. Maybe in some cases the mothers are involved. They also make big money from child pornography, and children get exploited through that. I've been to countries and it's not uncommon to see some dude walking down the beach with some, girl that's walking half crooked, like I said. And they probably can only eat ice cream when they're to that level. I want to say that young girls in this country, you have no idea how much freedom you really have in the broader sense. I think, there's a moving forward. Freedoms, are balanced on a fine line of delicacy that needs to be upheld, and this needs to be confronted before it gets any worse. And like I said, it's very scary that I'm the one that has to bring it to you. Okay, so scenario number 2. Say you have some old rich guy that he can't just realistically have one of these girls. He comes to the realization that he has enough money, enough power, enough wherewithal, and the means to have a whole colony and a brood to himself. And like I said, where there's a dollar to be made, there's a dollar to be had. But this guy had his goal was to basically obtain and procure a collection of exotic genetics. And again, like I talked about the ABRH negative thing, there's certain phenotypic girls or certain phenotypic traits. Like if you took like 20 of these guys that had collections, you'd see that the girls almost look all alike. And like the particular one phenotype is the ABRH negative. They have like a facial dynamics and proportions that exude the proportions of phi, kind of like Jesus Christ, like that. Very like Slavic, Russian, Jewish looking. And like I said, this guy probably keeps some of them keep them in refinement cages. This gets into this whole topic of refinement cages. That is a very, very big thing in human refinement. And like I said, if you're going to go to the level do this, there's various reasons they keep him in cages. A lot of times to keep him from getting stolen, or to keep him from going out, escaping obviously, and just to keep that, where they get out of the cage for 5 minutes and they think it's heaven, that scenario for them, to brainwash them and manipulate them, all kinds of terrible, horrible things. And if they're going to go to the trouble to do this, damn right they're going to do organ harvesting on them, especially these reptile girls that they make. So I'm going to give you scenario number 3. Take any random affluent town in this country. For our example, we're going to use New Jersey, somewhere in a wealthy, affluent New Jersey coastal town. And you take the mothers there in the community. They see how outright vindictive, controlling, and evil girls can be to a guy, especially guys that have wealth. Guys of wealth don't want to be playing games. It's just not how they roll. And the caliber of these clones and girls that I'm talking about, if they were just to be everyday girls, they are so beautiful, they would be driving guys to murder and suicide. It probably happens on private islands and stuff. So they think the answer is basically clone a bunch of these beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls, many Ukrainian, Russian genetics, and give one to each guy, and everything is equal, and everybody's happy, and there's no problems anymore. Maybe some of these people have love. Maybe they're just sex puppets to them. It's not, in my opinion, what our good Lord had in mind for natural biological functions to manifest into things that we know as like survival of the fittest, natural selection. Very important things for our genome to, like I said, progress as a human race. So like I said, they figure everyone equal. That's their reasoning. At some point, all of these examples I gave you converge into something that is just wrong. The black market all around the world is very real and obviously very hard to control. This is a serious problem moving forward for many various reasons. And I'm going to tell you one, that everybody and their brother is going to want a beautiful Russian, Ukrainian girl. They're not going to want regular girls anymore. If they allow this to go any further, it's going to be really, really bad. It's going to do away with natural selection altogether. Nobody's going to want a Jewish girl or an Italian girl or anything. And if another thing is, I've been to Ukraine, and in Ukraine, for every one beautiful girl here, you have 10 to 15 in Ukraine. And you'll go into somewhere like McDonald's or a convenience store, and you'll see beautiful, beautiful girls working there. Never, ever, ever will you see beautiful girls like that working those jobs in this country. immediately they would be scooped up. So there's like a problem in the overall dynamics of our country, and it's almost like the elites want a separate race of beings and people. And like I want to say, like I said, another problem is to make these beautiful girls with beautiful alabaster white skin. It requires Ukrainian Russian men, like not Italians or blacks or Mexicans, Colombians, old men, Chinese, etc. And I want to advance a possible conspiracy theory about the Ukraine war and Russia war, that like almost like the global elites want this war to go on. It's actually started in 2014. There's this big misconception with Trump. He says he would have stopped it. It's been going on since 2014. You can clearly search it, and it says it. But I really believe that they want all. You go to St. Michael's Cathedral in Kiev, Ukraine, and on the wall there they have pictures of all Ukrainian soldiers that died. They're the most beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed men you've ever seen, and they would make beautiful baby girls. And the same thing in Russia. Like I said, they're gone now too, and it's like they want to take control of the whole race of these beautiful girls and do away with anybody that could potentially make them on their own, or like take the glory away from Russia, basically, is what it boils down to. And I really believe that's what a lot of the heart of this conflict is, that nobody's talking about. And if you're still with me, please check out again my amazing unparalleled artwork in my short section and video section. I call absolute BS on the view counts. How is something so profound being this deeply suppressed? Please also check out my root canal in a bottle video number 3. If you're still here, I said bless your soul. I'm not going to name names or any families, but there's a lot more that I could say. Goodbye.